Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about something I've been thinking about a lot, which is the statement that Paul makes about the thorn in his flesh. So yeah, let's get right into it. Paul was perhaps the one of the most amazing, the greatest of all time preachers that we currently know. And he started off as Saul, who was persecuting other Christians. And then he encountered Jesus at Damascus, and he was transformed and became someone better and you and yeah. And so later on in Second Corinthians, when he's writing to the Corinthians in chapter 12, he talks about something really interesting that I've been thinking about. Nairobi has been cold of late, really cold, at least where I stay. And our house in particular is usually quite cold. So I've been really suffering from allergies that I've had since I was young. And I've just been thinking about how stressful they are just to maintain that every day, waking up every day with a blocked nose and teary eyes, and just a very uncomfortable feeling, and having to deal with that throughout the day. Um, and it even prevents me from concentrating on stuff because I look at something and my eyes are tearing up. And it's involuntary. I can't do anything about it. I steam every day. I try um, to manage it the best way I can. I think since I was younger, my parents have really tried to help me out by seeking medical attention. But it's one of those things that doesn't seem to go away, regardless of all the medication you've taken or every other single thing you've tried, the natural things, the pharmaceutical things, and everything. And I keep asking God why it has to be there, because it really takes me down sometimes, and I'm not able to do much. And sometimes people don't understand, especially when you perhaps have a deadline to do something and you're not able to because of the situation. It becomes really tough sometimes to get by. Like it's usually an issue, just my issue that I've been struggling with. And so I don't know. I happened to think about this thorn in the flesh. So I happen to think about this thorn in the flesh idea that Paul talks about in Second Corinthians, and I decided to do a bit of study and read up on it. And it was interesting what I came by. Let me just read Second Corinthians 12. I'll read two versions. The first one is New American Standard Bible, which says, "For if I do wish to boast, I will not be foolish, for I will be speaking the truth, but I refrain from this, so that no one will credit me more than he sees me in me or hears from me. Because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, there was given me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I implored the Lord 3 times that it might leave me. And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I would rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me." Verse 10, "Therefore I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, with distresses, with persecutions, with difficulties, with for Christ's sake, for when I am weak, then I am strong." I don't know, I just happen to think that it's so easy for us to forget God when life is always good, be it in family, be it in work. Um, and there's a reason why we keep hearing the narrative of, narrow is the way, and how difficult it is for the rich to enter heaven. Not that riches are bad, really, but there's something about consistently good, humanly good things that help make us forget about whose we are in the first place. I think even consistent health rarely makes us pray about health. When you always have the best of health, when I'm usually healthy, I rarely remember my allergies. And when I do, I'm usually like, wow, it's been a while and I'm grateful. But sometimes I'm not even remembering that and I'm not even grateful about it. And I think that's the general state of humanity. In our sinful nature, it's really hard for us to really embrace what what good is if we don't know what bad is. If we haven't gone through the bad times, then we might never know what the good times are about. Yeah. Paul seems to have this one thing that kept bothering him. Some people say it's someone who was close to him that was consistently bringing him issues. Other people say it was an illness. The Bible suggests that he had a visual impairment. Um, Other people yet say that it was a sin that he kept struggling with, like a sexual addiction of some sort. Uh, I saw something yesterday that was really interesting that was suggesting that it was his past. Remembering how he was persecuting Christians, and now on the flip side, knowing the Jesus he was serving, then he finally realized that, whoa, this is a complete change. But it kept bothering him either way. Whichever way it is, I honestly think thorns may be important. In Joshua, which is something else that I found out yesterday and thought about, in Joshua, as the Israelites are traveling to the promised land, they've conquered Jericho. And as they continue journeying on, they are reminded not to make um, allies out of the other nations. But somehow they just decide to, marry them and make allies and, agree to live with them. And especially in Joshua 9, which I remember talks about something like that. Um, and then God comes and stops them for a minute and is like, okay, so you guys didn't obey me. But since you haven't obeyed me, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these nations to teach you what war means. You're going to have to fight with these guys. They're going to have to kill you guys. But in the process, you'll also learn what war is. And the war, like fighting to win, you know? And again, Paul reminds us that, we need to race as if we're winning. Even as we're preaching about God, even as we're growing in our relationship with God, just to race as if we're winning. Race to win, not just race to participate. Race to win this race. And I think in the journey of anyone who's growing in their relationship with God, as I'm realizing, perhaps my consistent illness has, although not as terrible as other people's maladies and what other people or what you may be going through, I think my consistent trouble keeps me reminded of the war I need to win, because after that war I'll have overcome. And I think the thorn in the flesh is, it's a reminder and a prompting for us to remember that His grace is sufficient. That though I want to do so many things, but I can't because of my health, because of my finances, because of these strained relationships that I have, then His grace is sufficient. It's not always about Him taking things away, but it's mostly about finding Him amidst the storm. There's something my friend usually said that was really impactful to me, and it was, sometimes Jesus comes the storm, but sometimes He comes you in the storm. And I'm realizing that it's not always about things going away. God's power is and strength is seen in our weakness. If we had strength, we wouldn't need God's strength, And He has nothing. He has none of weakness. So He needs us to trust Him with our weakness, because He has none of that. And we need to trust Him with His strength, because we have none of that and He has a lot of strength. And so no matter what thorn in the flesh you're having, His grace is sufficient. Let me just read the last thing before I wind up this video is I like how the Message Bible puts it. Because of the okay, if I had this is verse 6 up to 10. If I had a mind to brag a little, I could probably do it without looking ridiculous, and I'd still be speaking plain truth all the way. But I'll spare you. I don't want anyone to imagine me as anything other than the fool you'd encounter if you saw me on the street. Yeah, something else that I thought about was these thorns remind us that we're just human beings like everyone else, you know? And it really needs to humble us to a point where we remember that His grace is the one that's taking us through. Even as we are teaching others, even as we are singing, even as we are talking to others about God, we need to remember it's His grace that's very sufficient for us. And no matter what, we need to trust that He's able to help our weaknesses, so that we are not being seen, but Jesus is being seen. I think it's important for us to draw other people to Christ and not to ourselves, because we are representing Him, and since we are reflecting His image, then His glory should be seen as well. Yeah, so no matter what you're going through in terms of a thorn in the flesh that's constantly disturbing you, whatever hard thing you might be going through, and whatever terrible thing you might be feeling, remember His grace is sufficient for you. Hey guys, thank you for watching that video. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment, and tell me what you think about all of these things. Please watch some other videos on the channel, share with someone if you're blessed, and yeah, let's keep telling people about Jesus and reminding them that He's the hope for all our troubles. So have a great day.